Okay, so this is, we're going to get into setting up the workshop now. If you have any questions as I'm going along, again, I'm going to only go into decisions that we made, and I'll compare them to decisions that we didn't make in terms of how we set things up. But if you have any questions as I'm going along, please feel free just to interrupt at any time. Okay, so this is basically the very first screen that you see when you set up in the workshop. And when you go into add an activity, you choose workshop. It comes up with, please give a workshop name, introduction, and then here you got the choices. And you can choose all three, or you can choose just one or two. In this case here, we chose student may assess the work of others. That's all we chose. But to answer your question, of course, you click this, then they have the choice to assess the work of their own work. And then here, again, if I wanted to give an example of, in this case, what happens is I put an article up and I assess it, and the students go through and they look at the same article and they assess it, and they look at my assessment versus their own assessment. That's what this practice is basically. It's looking at how I assessed versus how the teacher assessed. But we didn't think this was important because we wanted to have no influence whatsoever on the students' assessment. So we kept this. Okay, now the grade for submission. Again, it's 80-20, this is the default. And this basically, I think I touched on this yesterday, to categorize. When you set up the grade book in Moodle, you can set up different categories. And so we had project one, which is a project we did, quizzes and reports. So this was 3 categories we set up. And then, of course, this mark that we had, in this case here, we left this uncategorized. But the grading strategy at the bottom, we chose rubric. Rubric and accumulative grading are almost the same. A rubric is only based on qualitative or quantitative things that you set up, and I'll go into this. Accumulative grading allows for comments. Comments is only comments only, and number of errors, I've never used them. So basically, the 3 that I would choose would be accumulative grading, comments, or rubric. And again, the difference would be these 2 are almost the same, but this allows comments, this doesn't. And this one here, there's no grading whatsoever, it's only comments. Here, maximum upload of submission attachments. Now, in the case of a PowerPoint presentation, of course, the students really don't have anything to upload because you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. But we have the students upload their PowerPoint presentation slides to this. Okay, so this can be an offline activity, so to speak, as well. Okay, so maximum number of submissions that they want to do 2 or 3 depends what we're doing in class, but we choose 1. And of course, I think we set this at 5 or 10 megabytes. So this is where you set up how much memory is allowed for each PowerPoint presentation that or article, whatever they do. It's uploaded. And then here, I never allow submissions after this. I did. It's good cop, bad cop, our class. Okay. Okay, so this is instructions for assessment. So usually this is just go into the workshop. Please download the student's article. Please look at it. Please look at the rubrics and please assess. Basically, that's all. You don't have to put really anything in this. A lot of times we just explain the class and don't write anything in sentences. Separate groups, this is really handy. If you want to have no groups, that's fine. But separate groups allows you to say, okay, in your groups, we want your group to assess the other people that are in your group, so that you don't go outside the groups anymore. So you're not assessing articles that are outside of the people that you were initially working with. So you're going to assess the people only that you worked with as part of your article creation. Okay, so we kept this as separate groups. Grouping, we didn't touch this, but if you want to know more about grouping, then please ask me later on. This is the setup phase for the criteria. Now, so the students created the workshop assessment criteria. All we did as a teacher was we copied the description, for example, content with all the things that they had written, and then for each one, for example, 0, this is the comments of the information that they had written in the initial rubric, and then level 1, or the second one, this is the assessment criteria, why they got this grade. So this is what we wrote in here, and we wrote it for everything that they had given us. So we put it in the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. So they will graph, this is the criteria, this is the evaluation factors, and then this is, if you're going to give a 0, this is why you give a 0. If you're going to give a 1, this is why you give a 1. And again, the students don't really see this. They only see the criteria, and therefore they're doing qualitative assessment.
It's just using a table.
That's right. It's part of the workshop step, so as you go through each screen, this is what you'll see, and this is what you fill in. And again,
maybe just one other thing is, we didn't change their rubric, so if there were any mistakes, we just copied and pasted in, so there was no correction by the teacher at all through any of this stage.
Okay, so this is what it looks like. So now, this is much better than the initial rubrics that we saw. In the first rubrics in Article 1. But this is what you'd see as a student now. If you see a graph, and these are the levels. Okay, so when they're looking at the graph, they look at the quality, spacing, correction, arrangement, height, and these are, for example, no graph, no connection with the main point, too small, unnatural, hard to see. So this, if they looked at this and said, well, this article has none of that, well, I'm going to click this. Okay, so the students have to focus not on a 0, 1, 2, 3 now, they have to focus on the language. So they're using the language to assess the language. Right?
Yep.
Okay, now, so this is about some line instructions. Okay, so this is the submission phase now. So the students now click the submit button and upload. Okay, so we've finished with this, and now we click on the light bulb for this one, and we switch phases. Okay, so the setup phase is finished. The rubrics is inside. The settings for the grading, 80-20, how big the article can be, all that stuff is already set up now. The students just upload. Okay. Now, once they upload, then we have two choices as a teacher. One is to randomly allocate the articles. Okay. And what that does is that, okay, let's say I want 5 reviews per submission or 5 reviews per reviewer. So again, this is the same thing as I mentioned before. Whether I want to focus on giving each student 5 things to assess, or I want to focus on each article getting 5 people to assess it. Okay, so that's the difference. And then there's also one here. Participants can assess without being submitted anything. So if a student thinks that, well, they don't upload anything, we still want them to assess. Okay. So they can still get a mark for assessment, even if they haven't uploaded. So. And then basically you have number of reviews per submission or per reviewer, and then you have number of reviews. You can have a stretch from, I think it's 1 to 30. And then here, self-assessment has been disabled, so there's no choice here. Okay. So this is the random allocation. Now this is the manual allocation, which is, okay, I want this person to assess this person's article. So in that case, I've hidden the names, and then so you add. So this is the participant, and this participant is reviewed by. So I evaluated this person's article, and this person evaluates this person's article. And you can have as many as you want here, and you can have as many as you want here. Okay, so you choose the names yourself. So if you have a group of say 10 people, and you want this person to assess this person's article, then you can do that here. If you want to do it randomly, just push the button random, and the computer spits out, okay, you do this and you do this. That's all. Okay, you have 2 choices. Yes.
The assessment is in real time during class. It's not like they're going to get a notification or something. They've got to do it. If you set the time that it's happening during class.
No. What happens is once this submission phase is closed, and we go into the assessment phase, then the students, we've done it in class, but we've allowed other times the students to do it at home. So there's no set time.
You get a notification on the email that they registered in your profile.
Well, they're already in the workshop. So they're already working within the workshop, so they're already in there. So what they'll do is once we add the submission phase, or we were in the assessment phase, usually we do that in class. We say, okay guys, now you're able to assess. And as soon as they click on the workshop, that's all they see. So in each phase, when I click on the center phase, the students don't see anything. When I click on the submission phase, the students see the submission upload area. When I click on the assessment phase, the students see, okay, now I'm able to assess. So what the students see is what the teacher has set the phase to. So there's no...
You don't do that, what I'm saying is, you don't do that by using the dates or anything ahead of time to do it. You're manually doing it at the time.
We can set the dates.
Yeah,
but we
can enable the,
When it's open.
We're in such a control. Fortunately, we're able to really control exactly what we're doing because the classes followed each other from Tuesday to Wednesday. We were able to give them clear instructions. They knew exactly what they were going to be doing, and we were able to control it that way. But we thought about doing it the other way, but this was the first time that we decided to do some type of real action study. So we decided that we'd control it.
It's efficient enough for you because, like you said, you got Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right.